My friends, tonight I want to speak to those who feel a deep uneasiness in their souls, those who walk through crowded places and sense that something invisible has shifted in the atmosphere of mankind. You feel it in the silence between words, in the laughter that no longer carries joy, in the eyes that look alive yet seem hollow. There is a hum of emptiness in the air, a subtle trembling in the collective heart of humanity. Many try to drown it in entertainment, in noise, in endless motion. But you, the sensitive one, cannot escape the feeling that something sacred is being forgotten. You are not imagining it. The spiritually awake, those who live in awareness of the unseen self, are indeed slowly disappearing from society, not because they have perished, but because they have withdrawn into the inner chambers of being. The world of illusion grows louder, while those anchored in truth grow quieter. Yet it is not silence of defeat, it is the stillness of divine remembrance. To be awake spiritually is to live in a world that no longer recognizes you. The awake man is no longer animated by the same forces that drive the masses. He no longer hungers for approval, status, or the fleeting glitter of success. He lives by a different law, an inward conviction that does not bend with the winds of public opinion. His compass points not to the crowd's applause, but to the still voice within that whispers, "I am." When society thrives on distraction, noise, and ceaseless movement, the one who has found the stillness of being becomes an enigma. He stands in the marketplace of endless chatter and feels as though he's watching a dream. To those around him, he seems detached, uninterested, perhaps even strange. But in truth, he has simply remembered where life truly begins, not in reaction, but in awareness. The awake man moves through chaos untouched, not because he ignores it, but because he sees it for what it is, the shadow play of consciousness asleep to itself. You see, awakening is not an achievement, it is a remembering. It is not earned by merit or gained through striving, it is the unveiling of what has always been. To awaken is to recall that you are not the name, the body, or the history you carry, but the eternal consciousness that observes it all. It is the return to your original state of being, the awareness before thought, the silence before sound. When a man discovers that imagination creates reality, he no longer looks outward for permission to live. He ceases to be a victim of appearances and becomes the master of inner creation. That realization alone reshapes his entire existence. Suddenly, fear loses its power, for he knows that the outer world is only a reflection of his own assumptions. But herein lies the reason he becomes a stranger to the world. The world of sleep cannot comprehend the man who dreams consciously. They cannot understand one who no longer reacts but imagines anew. And so, awakening separates, not by intention, but by vibration. The world, dear friends, is not designed for the awake. It is built for dreamers who do not yet know they dream. Every system that governs humanity, political, economic, educational, even religious, operates upon the belief that power lies somewhere outside man. The unawakened are trained from birth to look outward, to authority, to government, to circumstance, to luck. And so they remain prisoners of appearances, never daring to look within. But when a man awakens, he shatters the spell. He realizes that he is the dreamer shaping the dream, that every event and encounter is a mirror of his inner state. And because he cannot be governed by fear or bribed by promise, he no longer fits neatly into the machinery of control. The world begins to reject him, not with hatred, but with confusion. It does not know what to do with one who cannot be manipulated. And so the awakened one becomes like wind, felt but unseen, present but beyond capture, living by laws unknown to the sleeping. Now understand this, the spiritually awake are not victims of rejection, they are graduates of illusion. They have walked through the halls of deception and found the door that leads home. They do not disappear because they are weak. They disappear because they no longer seek validation from a dream. They do not crave the noise of social approval, nor the applause of crowds who praise one moment and condemn the next. They have found the kingdom of God within and discovered that peace is not earned, it is remembered. They live in quiet joy, not needing to convince or convert. For once a man tastes divine awareness, he knows that arguing with sleep is futile. He knows that what the world calls success is but dust upon the wind, and so he retreats not in bitterness but in liberation. He no longer asks the world to see him, for he now sees himself clearly, and that vision satisfies every hunger the outer world could never fill. In the days when I first understood the law of assumption, that consciousness is the only reality, I too noticed how few remained truly interested in truth. Many delighted to hear the words, but few desired to live them. To live this truth is to die to the world of appearances. It is to walk by faith, not by sight. It is to refuse to bow to fear, gossip, or limitation. And this inner death terrifies the sleeping soul. For the unawakened, identity is built upon the outer, the approval of others, the security of possessions, the opinions of society. But to live by imagination, one must die to these anchors. One must stand naked before God, armed only with belief in the unseen, and so most prefer comfort over freedom, routine over revelation. They admire the awakened, but fear to join them, for awakening demands the surrender of everything false, and thus the awake remain few, not because truth is rare, but because courage is. So what happens? The awake begin to withdraw, not out of arrogance, but out of necessity. Their vibration no longer resonates with the frequency of conflict, gossip, or complaint. Their minds reject the bitter feast of negativity that the world serves daily. They cease to defend their peace in debates, for they realize peace defended is peace already lost. They stop explaining their faith to those determined not to understand. They stop engaging in cycles of drama that feed the illusion of separation. And so, little by little, they drift from the noise of the collective dream. To the sleeping, they appear to vanish. They no longer appear in the conversations that revolve around fear. They no longer join the dances of comparison and competition. Yet in truth they are not retreating, they are rising. Their silence is not absence, it is alignment. For in the quiet the soul finds its true power, and the man who once reacted begins to create. They vanish not because they hide, but because they have become invisible to those who cannot yet see. To the eye still veiled by illusion, the awakened one no longer registers as familiar. He may still walk among the people, still sit beside them in cafes, still exchange a courteous word, but his energy no longer anchors in the same dimension of thought. His awareness has shifted from matter to spirit, from noise to silence, from reaction to creation. He sees through forms, perceiving the unseen substance animating them. And when a man lives from that height of consciousness, he is no longer noticed by those still dreaming in form. It is as if he walks in two worlds simultaneously, the visible and the invisible, and he dwells mostly in the latter. His withdrawal is not physical but vibrational. He can be in a crowded room and yet feel alone, not from loneliness but from clarity. The dreamers see him yet cannot perceive him. His radiance is quiet, his presence unexplainable, his peace misunderstood. My dear friends, this disappearance is not a tragedy, it is a sacred transition. An elevation of consciousness, not an abandonment of humanity. The world is not losing its awake ones, it is being silently transformed by them. For every awakened soul who withdraws from the clamor of society becomes a beacon of unseen light, a transmitter of stability and healing within the ocean of collective thought. Though unseen, their influence ripples outward, altering the unseen atmosphere of human consciousness. When they meditate, nations are calmed. When they imagine peace, wars begin to falter. When they stand in love, hatred dissolves in unseen places. These souls are not escaping the world. They are upholding it in silence. Their disappearance is not retreat, but refinement. For true creation is not noisy. The new world is being birthed not in parliaments, nor in protests, but in the quiet minds of those who remember who they are. The awakened do not flee. They ascend, carrying creation to realms untouched by chaos. When the mind is still, creation flows freely. The awakened man has learned the secret of still power. He does not need to fight against evil, for he understands that what he resists, he strengthens. He does not shout against darkness. He imagines light. His authority is inward, and from that inward stance, he bends the outer world without lifting a hand. This is the mystery the sleeping world cannot grasp, that the most powerful acts are not performed but imagined. When you still your mind, you return to the creative center of being, and from that stillness, all conditions must obey you. The man who knows this law no longer fears the outer storm, for he carries the calm within. He no longer protests injustice, he imagines harmony. His silence becomes his weapon, and his faith his fortress. And though the world may accuse him of indifference, he knows his quiet assumption moves mountains unseen. The truly awake need no platform. They create from pure awareness. Society calls them loners, but they are not lonely. The solitude of the awakened is not an exile. It is a sanctuary. In silence, they commune with the infinite, conversing not with words, but with vibrations of love and understanding. They no longer need the constant noise of company to feel alive. They have discovered the richness of being alone with the divine self. Their quiet moments are filled with revelation, their solitude saturated with the perfume of eternity. To the sleeping world, they appear distant, uninterested, detached. Yet inside, they are aflame with love, love not for a few, but for all. They withdraw not to abandon others, but to preserve the purity of their inner temple. For they know that one cannot remain in constant contact with noise and still hear the whisper of God. The world calls their peace strange, but it is the most natural state of man, to rest in union with the source, unbothered by the turbulence of dreams. Many of you here tonight may be wondering, if the awakened disappear, who will guide the rest? And I tell you, their very absence is a greater teacher than their presence. The stillness they leave behind becomes a living sermon for those ready to listen. Their peace becomes a haunting question in the restless heart. Why do they no longer need what we chase? Their withdrawal is like a bell tolling in the distance, calling the weary soul inward. The awakened do not preach loudly, they awaken silently. You may pass them on the street and not recognize them, but something in you will stir, a faint remembrance that there is more to life than noise. The absence of their participation in the chaos makes others question the meaning of their own. Thus, without a word, they become guides. The power of their example transcends speech. Their invisibility becomes an invitation, and their stillness becomes a mirror in which the seeker glimpses himself. This disappearance is not isolation. It is elevation. It is the ascension of consciousness to higher planes of awareness, where thought becomes form instantly, where intention is law, and where love is the only currency. The awakened one lives between worlds, shaping the unseen while appearing still in the seen. In this higher state, creation no longer requires effort. It flows naturally, for he has merged with the divine rhythm of life. What appears to others as inactivity is actually the highest form of action, for creation at that level is purely spiritual. He blesses from afar, heals through imagination, loves without attachment, and moves without moving. The world may not witness his works, yet it lives by them. These souls are not abandoning humanity. They are expanding it into its divine potential. They have not gone somewhere else. They have gone deeper into the realm where God dreams, where the invisible roots of all existence are nourished by thought, love, and light. Look at your own life for a moment. Have you noticed how certain conversations no longer satisfy you? How gossip feels heavy? How complaints ring hollow? And how silence has become a precious companion? This is not antisocial behavior. It is spiritual refinement. You are being tuned to a higher frequency where truth becomes your only nourishment. What once thrilled you now bores you, not because you have grown cynical, but because your soul has matured. The noise of the world begins to sound like static, and your spirit longs for melody. You may find yourself withdrawing from certain crowds, not out of judgment, but out of inner necessity. It is as though your very being can no longer digest what once fed it. That is the sign of awakening, the moment when the outer world loses its power to define you. You are being recalibrated, drawn inward by divine gravity, purified of distraction, prepared to remember who you truly are. You begin to see, beloved, how society's race for pleasure is but a chase after shadows. Man, asleep, believes that the next possession, the next relationship, or the next achievement will complete him. Yet the moment he grasps it, the satisfaction dissolves like mist in sunlight. The spiritually awake understand this not as condemnation, but as compassion. They see mankind running tirelessly toward mirages and calling it progress. They know that every pursuit of the outer is but a symbolic search for the forgotten inner treasure. The house, the car, the status, the fame, each is only a distorted echo of man's true desire to rediscover his divine inheritance. The awakened do not despise the pleasures of life, but they no longer mistake them for life itself. They enjoy the world as a dream without being bound by it, for they have found the source of all joy within themselves. And from that inner abundance they bless the world, knowing every outer good is but imagination made visible. And so they live quietly, creating inwardly, manifesting beauty, abundance, and healing, not for spectacle, but for joy. Their creative acts are born from love, not ambition. They do not broadcast their miracles, for they understand that true power needs no applause. When the world celebrates noise, they move in silence. When the world seeks validation, they rest in knowing. Their prayers are not requests, but recognitions of truth. Their giving is not strategic, but spontaneous, flowing like rivers from the wellspring of divine supply within. They build not empires of ego, but temples of light in consciousness. Their work blesses multitudes they will never meet, and their imagination becomes a channel for the infinite to reveal itself. The awakened are quiet creators, sculpting reality through thought, seeing with the eyes of God, and loving without condition. Their joy is sacred because it is not dependent upon circumstance. It is the joy of being. The ecstasy of knowing I am is enough. World may call them disappearing, but I tell you, they are multiplying. Each soul that awakens sends out ripples in the ocean of consciousness, awakening countless others in ways unseen. The more they withdraw from the outer chaos, the more they expand inwardly, and their vibration begins to call others home. It is a quiet revolution, a movement without banners, without slogans, without leaders. The awakened are multiplying not by persuasion, but by resonance. When one remembers, many begin to stir. When one finds peace, thousands begin to question their unrest. This is how the new earth is born, not through force, but through the magnetic pull of awakened being. The outer world may see fewer prophets on stages, fewer teachers in pulpits, and assume the light is fading. But in truth, the light is spreading into countless hearts, igniting softly, silently, unrecorded. They have not disappeared. They have dispersed, like seeds carried by divine wind, each one germinating in its appointed soil. You will not find them on television nor in the chambers of political power. You will not see them shouting in the streets, nor seeking followers for their philosophies. You will find them instead meditating at dawn, speaking gently to the divine within, holding the vibration of faith when all others panic. You will find them in humble homes, in quiet gardens, in the stillness of night, imagining peace into existence. They are the unseen builders of a coming world. They have traded fame for frequency, applause for alignment. They no longer need to be known, for they know themselves. They understand that transformation does not require attention, it requires intention. And so they work invisibly, like roots beneath the soil, nourishing the tree of humanity from underneath. The world sees only the branches swaying in chaos, but beneath it, these unseen roots hold firm. They are the quiet architects of the future, unheralded, unrecorded, but indispensable to the rising dawn. Do not mourn their disappearance. Rejoice, for it signals the rise of a new consciousness, a kingdom not of the outer world, but of the inner man. The spiritually awake have not left you. They have gone within to prepare the way. They are the builders of the invisible temple that one day all will enter. Their retreat from the visible stage is not a loss, it is a preparation for revelation. For as they withdraw, their energy concentrates, and what was once scattered through effort becomes powerful through stillness. Their silence is sowing the seeds of a new age, an age when man will no longer seek God in the clouds, but find him in his own imagination. The disappearance of the awake marks not the end of enlightenment, but the dawn of collective remembrance. They are not gone. They are gathering strength, becoming light condensed, ready to illuminate the hearts of those who begin to hunger for truth again. Every man will one day awaken. Every woman will one day remember her divinity. The dream of separation cannot endure forever, for the light of awareness eventually pierces even the deepest sleep. The story of humanity is the story of God forgetting himself in form and then remembering again through each soul. The pain, the struggle, the longing, all are stages of awakening. One by one, the sleepers will stir, until at last we will no longer speak of awaken and sleep, for the dream itself will dissolve into light. When that day comes, heaven and earth shall be one, for consciousness will recognize its own reflection everywhere. The walls of division, religion, class, nation, identity will crumble, and love will reign as the natural expression of being. That is the destiny of all. And until that dawn, the awakened hold the flame in secret, ensuring that even in the darkest night, the memory of light is never lost. Until then, those who are awake must remain faithful. Do not be tempted to return to the noise of the world, for there is nothing left there for you but echoes. Stand still and know that you are God imagining this world into being. Let your withdrawal be not escape, but creation. Your silence is not emptiness, it is the womb of all manifestation. Every moment you choose peace over reaction, you are rewriting the dream. Every time you hold a loving assumption in the face of fear, you are recreating the world. The awake are not here to preach. They are here to remember, and through remembrance, to restore. So stay faithful to the unseen. When appearances contradict your vision, persist in knowing that the unseen governs the seen. To retreat from illusion is not to lose, it is to reclaim your divine authorship. Stand firm in your knowing. Be still, and let God within you finish his imagining through your faith. So, my friends, do not fear the disappearance of the spiritually awake. They have not gone anywhere. They have gone deeper. They walk among you, unseen yet radiant, whispering truth through the stillness of being. Their presence can be felt in the calm after prayer, in the peace that comes from nowhere, in the sudden realization that you are not alone. They have simply moved inward, to the true home of the soul, the secret place of the Most High. From there they guide, they bless, they create. One day when your own veil thins, you will see them clearly, not as figures apart from you, but as your higher self reflected back. For in truth there are no separate ones, only the one awakening to itself through many. The spiritually awake have not disappeared. They have merged with the heart of God. They are home within, and when you too return there, you will know they never left at all.